Hey guys, first Regardsman here, and so I'll be talking about every single primary weapon in Space Marine 2 Patch 13 for the Purgation update and tier listing them. Now, a lot of you have asked me to compare the Relic tier with the Heroic tier, so I will be doing that today. And I want to say before we even get into this that there really is no like god-awful primary in Space Marine 2 right now, except for one. And if you want to use like a C tier, B tier, A tier weapon, you can definitely do that. Use whatever gun you think is the most fun. That is up to you. This is just my opinion on how strong they are in comparison to each other, and that's not to say they're all bad if they're in like the C tier and stuff like that. So with no further ado, we're gonna start off with the auto bolt rifle. This is the worst weapon in the entire game, probably. This weapon is so bad because it has a limited perk tree. It's like just overall ammo economy is pretty shit for like any class but the tactical. If you take this thing on Tech Marine, you're like kind of trolling yourself to the point that like I kind of forget this weapon's actually on Tech Marine sometimes. And the only reason this weapon is pretty much ever functional is because the tactical class is so strong on his perk tree selection that kind of makes up for like the god awful damage here. But pretty much every single other weapon in the game is better than this at the moment, and this weapon is actually so bad that this is supposed to be like the Combi Melta over here is supposed to be a heroic variant of the auto bolt rifle. However, the auto bolt rifle tree is so dog shit they put this one as a bolt rifle variant because it just makes more sense there to actually use the perk tree, and this one for that reason goes directly in the D tier. It's the worst weapon. There really is no reason to use this, but if you want to, you definitely can. Next weapon here is the Stalker bolt rifle. This is the premier DMR of the game. This one is available on the tactical and sniper class, and the headshot damage here is very strong. You can nuke down zoanthropes and neurothropes very easily with this weapon, especially in patch 13, because the neurothropes got an HP debuff in this patch, and now the Stalker bolt rifle just kind of nukes them harder than ever. I would say this one firmly goes in the A tier. There are some points where I do think some other weapons are really good in the headshot, just like this one is, like the Marksman Carbine I'll get into later. And even though this one is very strong on the headshot and CHP recovery, the horde clear here is obviously lacking, and like unless you have a powerful secondary or you play with the sniper class, that can sometimes hurt the tactical. But overall, A tier weapon for sure. Definitely nukes down Majoris, Extremis, and the Terminus at times as long as you land those headshots. The next weapon here is the heavy bolt rifle. Now in patch 13, all of the bolter weapons have better body shot damage. They changed around a bunch of the headshot damage calcs on this, and because of that, the heavy bolt rifle feels pretty good right now. I would say it's not like quite in the A tier. I wouldn't say it's like on the level of a Marksman Carbine, standard bolt carbine options, stuff like that. It's just the heavy bolt rifle is much stronger than before. I think it is a solid weapon in the game, and on the tactical class with the crack and penetrate around perk for 50% bonus body shot damage, this one feels pretty damn good, and the headshot damage is also quite decent, and the CHP recovery is decent as well. So for that reason, B tier. If you want to move this one up into A tier, I think that's pretty fair. I'm not going to argue with you there, but in my opinion, this one's B. Next weapon here is the Occulus bolt carbine. This is another weapon I think is kind of like middle of the road. The headshot multiplier version of this is by far the best in my opinion. It does perform pretty well on the Tech Marine and the Vanguard class, but that being said, I do think there are better options for both of those classes with things like the Marksman Carbine on the Vanguard or the Standard Bolt Carbine, and on the Tech Marine especially, you have the Deathwatch Heroic Heavy Bolt Rifle, or just some of his better options here with stuff like the Bolt Rifle and stuff like that, or Combi Melta. So Oculus Bolt Carbine, not bad, not terrible, I would say, or excuse me, not great, not terrible. I would say B tier for now. It's pretty strong, you know, if you want to take this for headshot damage, it is quite good in the zoanthropes. It does have a very accurate fire just because of the scope on top of the accuracy variant having that headshot buff as well. So if you want to take this, you definitely can. I would just put it in the B. Next weapon here is the automatic bolt carbine. This weapon's contested health recovery is incredible in Space Marine 2. This is one of the best weapons in the entire game for Chaos because of that, because as long as you have ammunition here, you just don't really lose your HP. Like if anything lowers your CHP down by like 90%, all you have to do is just hold down the trigger and you will get back your HP as long as you land those headshots. And the hip fire here with perks like Home Precision that reduce your maximum weapon spread by 50% is basically a laser beam. The bolt carbine feels really good in this game right now. I'd say it's one of the better options overall in the entire game. So A tier for sure. Very strong option. If you want to take this on like any class that's available on, you can't go wrong. And as of patch 13, with crack and penetrator rounds on the tactical, you will just shred through the Minoris enemies on absolute hard strats to like an absurd degree. It is super fun to do, so if you haven't tried that, you definitely should. Next weapon here is the carpal tunnel machine, the Marksman Carbine. Now, the Marksman Carbine has a really powerful variant as of like patch 12 onward. Back in patch 12, they buffed up the base damage of the ammo reserve option, and now it's just like the de facto go-to version for this gun because it has like double the magazine capacity of the headshot multiplier version. It has almost equivalent damage to the headshot multiplier version on the actual headshot, and also has a tremendous ammo reserve. And for that reason, I think this one's up in the A. I think it's much stronger than it used to be. I used to put it down like B back in like patch 11, but these days, the carpal tunnel machine, that is its major downside. The CHP recovery here is pretty high. The damage is great. The ammo economy is phenomenal. The ammo economy on this gun is actually so good, you do not need to take like any ammo regen perks on it to do well with it. So a really powerful option up in the A. Next weapon here is the Bolt Sniper. I would say the Bolt Sniper is okay. I might put this one in the C. It does like one-shot zone throws to the proper setup occasionally, but let's be real. If you were taking a Bolt Sniper, you're probably taking the Heroic one, because the Heroic one is just like a strict upgrade to this one, in my opinion. The only downside is that this one has a way worse ammo economy if you don't land your headshots. That's really more of a skill issue. And if you do feel like less comfortable with landing headshots, this one is definitely better, but the performance is significantly worse. I would say if you're planning on using a sniper, it's not the Heroic Bolt Sniper, I'd probably just take the last Fusil, and for that reason, Bolt Sniper probably goes down to C. It's not bad. Like, you know, you can one-shot Zoanthropes, like I said. You can do tremendous damage to Neurothropes, and as long as you're able to manage your ammo economy with your Versatile Precision Prestige perk, it is pretty good. I just think there are better sniper options in the game, like the next one with the last Fusil. The last Fusil is still a top tier weapon in Space Marine 2 for both Chaos and Tyranids. I think this weapon is very powerful. I would think this is the first S tier we have on the list. It may not be as strong as every other weapon I would put on the S tier, but if you build for like a beam amplification on a radius on your beam, and also build for ammo economy, you can have a very strong headshot weapon on top of a very ammo efficient weapon that will also heal you or give itself a damage buff. Last Fusil has been a top tier option since Space Marine 2 came out, and it really has not changed, and pretty much every variant of this is quite powerful. And if you combine this weapon with the Argent Edge on top of like a targeted shot, it is super strong. And in fact, the rate of fire version can get so high you can get 2 shots off of the 75% damage buff if you are quick with the proper perk setup. So really strong, S tier for sure. Next weapon here is the standard bolt rifles. It's not the grenade launcher portion, this is just the normal one. I would say this one is also like C tier. There is really no reason to take this over like the heavy bolt rifle, in my opinion, or the Marksman Carbine, or Bolt Carbine, or Stalker bolt rifle. It is super middle of the road. They did buff it up a couple times. The ×2 headshot multiplier version is okay. So like if you want to say because of that ×2 headshot accuracy variant, it goes into B, that is pretty fair, but I think there are just better options now, and the better option, in my opinion, would be the grenade launcher. The grenade launcher bolt rifle is, in my opinion, S tier, because grenades in Space Marine 2, when you fire off a single grenade in this game, you will get back like all of your contested health instantaneously, and this weapon is available on 2 of the squishiest classes in all of Space Marine 2, being the Tech Marine and Tactical. Now, Tech Marine Space Marine 2 has the lowest HP total in the entire game, tied with the Sniper class. However, unlike the Sniper class, you do not have a proper health damage reduction. So when your armor breaks and you are knocked over on Tech Marine, having an option like this to just one-shot an enemy with a grenade and get back all of your health is incredibly valuable for you. This is a S tier weapon for sure, and in the siege mode, you can just buy ammo boxes on tack over and over with this gun, and the perk tree is set up a little bit better than the Heroic Heavy Bolt Rifle, in my opinion, for grenade spam, and because of that, S tier for sure. I think like that CHP recovery and AoE damage nuking potential is just godly, and there are also some bugs with this weapon, like crack and penetrator perks right now, that kind of break it, but even without that, it's still up here in my opinion. Next weapon here is the Instigator Carbine. I think this one is like C tier. The only problem is that you pretty much never need the Instigator Carbine relic tier options because the heroic version is just so much better in this game. This one has higher DPS. It fits the playstyle of Instigator Carbine far more because the Instigator Carbine is like a close to medium range weapon. This one is on Vanguard, it is on the sniper class, and usually if you were taking these weapons, it is because you were building for things like tactical ambush or obviously your grapnel launcher, and the wrapped Instigator is super accurate at like medium to close range anyways, and the only place this really outperforms this one is at long range, but you're not taking this for long range regardless, because if you're going for a long range build on a sniper class, you're probably not taking an Instigator Carbine. You're probably taking a Bolt Sniper. You're probably taking a Stalker Bolt Rifle. You're probably taking a last Fusil. So for that reason, I would say this one goes down to C because it is totally power crept by the wrapped Instigator Carbine. Now, this brings us to the Melta Rifle. The Melta Rifle is still an amazing gun in Space Marine 2. It's also one of the easiest guns to use in the entire game because it gives you HP back off of things like rapid health. You have armor regen off the perk trick shot every 30 seconds. And this one is also a very ammo efficient weapon because on its best perk tree setup, you have the perk decisive reload that will give you 1 ammo back every single execute when this weapon is equipped, which is super strong for Vanguard that has no other ammo regen perks that are remotely as good. So for that reason, I think the Melta Rifle goes up into A. It is great for staggering chaos. It is amazing on tactical and Vanguard, and there are also a ton of ways to build this in like your actual perk tree for the class, because you can take things like Emperor's Judgment on the tactical class and do just fine with this weapon because it is just not ammo efficient on its own. And also the Horde Clear here and CHP recovery is top tier, and for new players especially, this is a top tier option. So I would say A tier for sure. And this brings us into the big brother of the Melta Rifle here, which is the Multi-Melta. Multi-Melta's S tier. I don't think anyone's gonna disagree with that. There was a bug with this, or like a unintended perk interaction where you could just go into heavy stance and go out of your heavy stance and just double fire this because they were on separate cooldowns for your shots. So basically you would enter heavy stance, fire one shot, exit heavy stance and fire one shot immediately after, or vice versa, which was like pretty goofy, pretty broken. They nerfed that a while back. But that being said, the Multi-Melta was already S tier before that was even a thing, so I would still say it goes up in the top tree here. This just kind of trivializes content in Space Marine 2 because the heavy class is just so tanky that when you stack on a fat weapon like this to just horde clear and AoE stagger enemies relentlessly, it's just ridiculous. And the only thing this kind of struggles with is boss damage, but that being said, you don't care that much because you have like a pocket plasma pistol with a heroic plasma that you can definitely use instead of like having your primary be your main boss killer. And for that reason, I think the Multi-Melta is still up in the S tier. And this kind of makes up for like any CHP regen you would have. And in patch 13 especially, if you are taking the Multi-Melta, you're probably going to take the heroic plasma pistol, which is just like, a secondary heavy plasma incinerator. So really strong for that. Now, the next weapon here is the heavy plasma. Heavy plasma is, in my opinion, still S. The only thing holding this weapon back is the balanced parry window and the ammo economy. The ammo economy here is shit. Let's be very clear, guys. The ammo economy on this gun is not very strong. You very much have to build into that, and even with the ammo economy perks on heavy, you will still struggle occasionally, but the damage here is incredible. All the variants are quite strong. I would say the weakest one is probably the venting speed version, but the magazine capacity and rate of fire version, top tier weapons in Space Marine 2. Even the common shots on this thing without like the charge shots for AoE are still very powerful. And this one, just like its heroic variant I'll get into later, are both top tier weapons. And if you're trying to nuke enemies, it's just a big fat gun that's a big fat amount of damage. And that's really all you need in Space Marine 2 in a lot of cases. The next weapon here is definitely not S tier, and that is the Pyrecannon. This is, in my opinion, the worst heavy stance weapon in Space Marine 2 currently, and I'll explain why. So basically, the Pyrecannon requires you as a heavy to just sit there and like dump out fire over and over, and that is pretty effective. Burn is still a very strong effect in patch 13. They did nerf it by like 20% against the terminus enemies, but that being said, your burn damage against bosses is still incredible because a 20% nerf on the burn damage is not that important in Space Marine 2, to be honest. It feels more like the weapon is just functioning how it should, because before it was just kind of nuts how much damage you could do just off of like one burn volley. But the Pyrecannon is far worse than its cousin, the Pyreblaster, mainly because the class synergy with heavy is just not quite there, because the heavy class in general, he is just not able to sit there and just absorb this, because every single other weapon on the heavy class has way better contested health recovery on its heavy stance, like Multi-Melta will get you your HP back. You are able to sit there and dump out shots because you are tanky and you're recovering your CHP. Heavy Plasma is the same way of common shots, and the heroic Heavy Bolter and Heavy Bolter are also like that. This weapon's contested health recovery is very low, which means in a lot of cases, you will just have to like move away and like not shoot out your full volley because you're just going to die if you do. So for that reason, I would say this one goes in like B. I think it's one of the weaker options in the game currently for the heavy stance. The burn damage is obviously top tier, so if you want to put this up in A, you can. But if you want burn damage, I would just take the next weapon instead, which is the Pyreblaster. This one got nerfed on the burn damage just like the Pyrecannon did, but that being said, it's still S tier. Pyreblaster is still one of the best guns in the entire game. It will still just purge everything in Space Marine 2 for you on like hard strats and absolute difficulty. The places this falls off is like in siege mode at times because the damage reduction of the enemies is kind of nuts. But that being said, Pyreblaster is just that gun. I mean, all you have to do on tactical is just walk around, purge enemies. If you ever lose your HP because you're a tactical class, use pull out a rate of fire plasma pistol and immediately go back to burning all the enemies. And also the burn damage here will be upped by your Auspex scan. So like this weapon alone is why Promethean prices went up by like 50 billion%, because it is just that broken. It's been top tier ever since patch 10, even with a burn nerf. It's still godly because all it has to do is just purge enemies, and all you have to do is just walk around and hip fire and you'll kill everything. So S tier for sure, top tier option, probably the overall best weapon in the entire game, but you know, that's just my opinion. Next weapon here is the Heavy Bolter. This weapon is the relic tier option. I would say this one goes up into the A tier. I think it's pretty good. I think there's not much reason to use this over the Chains of Duty, but there are some like damage buffs you can do here. There are also some accuracy buffs. So like as opposed to the Instigator Carbine, it's down the C tier because it is completely power crept by the Wrapped Instigator. This one is actually, it does have some use case scenarios where you would want this over your heroic one sometimes for like some niche stuff. And because of that, I would say the Heavy Bolter goes up into A. And the thing about this gun is in patch 13, all the bolter buffs, they also apply to this weapon for the body shot damage as well. And all the heavy bolters feel way better now, and because of that, I think it firmly belongs in the A as it always has, but it's even better than it used to be, so I'm putting it up top. Next weapon here is the Plasma Incinerator Primary. This weapon got buffed on the shard shot damage and the common shot damage in patch 13, and it is really strong now. Double plasma on tactical is very powerful with range damage buffs like plasma boost. And I would actually go as far to say this weapon might belong in like the S tier. It's like, it's really fucking strong, guys. It might, maybe A tier's more fair, but Plasma's been held back for so long in Space Marine 2. I'm gonna give its time in the sun. I'm gonna give its time in the sun. It's gonna go up here into the S tier. This weapon is really strong right now. This was the worst weapon on Tech Marine for a long time. It feels way better on him as well. The contested health recovery, the ability to just damage enemies on the common shot. That common shot buff really helped out things like transhuman physiology on the tactical as well. It gives you a 30% increase on your contested health recovery on range attacks. And because of that, the AoE damage of these new common shots, you can survive against like Hormigón hordes by just spamming light combos with a hip fire. A really fun option. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of S tier because it's a good gun. Someone say about it. It's a good gun. If you want to use this on any class, you definitely can. Next weapon here is our first heroic option with the Wrapped Instigator Carbine. This one is A tier. The DPS of this thing is very high if you land all your headshots. All you have to do is just like point blank shoot enemies like tip of the spear on a Vanguard. You can like one combo Majora's with this gun on the sniper class, a targeted shot on like the ranged enemies like Rubric Marines, or with the Vanguard if you grapple to them and just like one burst them. This one has a 5-round burst as opposed to the 3-round burst here, but also has a higher base damage. It means your overall DPS is significantly higher on this one than the one down here, and the ammo economy is also quite strong. So top tier option, A tier for sure. Next weapon here is the Wrapped Bolt Sniper Rifle. This is the best weapon on the sniper class, in my opinion, if you hit every headshot. Now, 99% of players are not going to do that, so I would still say the last Fusil can be better for them, but Bolt Sniper Rifle, S tier for sure. This one just one-shots Zoan throws. It one-shots everything, okay? If you hit your headshots, you just one-shot literally everything in Space Marine 2. All you have to do is just run around or use remote threat and just one-shot Majora's over and over and over. The only time this one sucks is on Chaos against like Chaos Spawn, stuff like that. But that being said, Wrapped Bolt Sniper Rifle, definitely up here in the S tier. I'm going to put it like right here with Last Fusil. I think they're pretty comparable to each other, but the Bolt Sniper Rifle, its damage output is like unmatched if you actually use the proper headshots. Next weapon here is the Chains of Duty Heroic Heavy Bolter. This one is also S tier in my opinion. I think this one's actually better than all the other heavy weapons because at the moment, for operations and hard stratagems, having a fencing parry window with this newly buffed heavy bolter is incredible because Chains of Duty has two major buffs to it, actually three. So number one, you have a fencing parry window with this weapon on the heavy class, which is like already puts it way above like balanced weapon options, but you also get a 50% increased parry window on top of that, making it very powerful against chaos spawn versus chaos. And on top of all of that, you also get a 0 startup on your maximum fire rate. So the standard heavy bolter here, when you pull down the trigger, you need to build up to your max fire rate. This one goes off immediately from like 0 to 100. So very powerful option for that. That lets you get a tremendous amount of damage out, which is super nice. And I would say overall, Chains of Duty just makes all the missions go far more smoothly. And like the only time I would take other options is like maybe in the siege mode or for like unique hard strats, but this one's overall the best in my opinion. The next weapon here is the Combi Melta. This weapon's like firmly B tier. I think this one's pretty good. It has a place in the game. The Melta portions here are only better than like the grenade launcher sometimes for the hard strats and operations because you are able to get back all of your Melta rounds off of a single ammo cache. Grenade launchers will only get back from loadout stations and stuff like the ammo boxes on the map, which isn't too bad, but like this one especially, much better on the ammo economy and pretty good for triggering like rapid health perk effects, but not super strong on the gun portion, and the CHP recovery here is not quite as high as the grenade launcher. Next weapon here is the Heroic Heavy Plasma. This one is also S tier. This is just a full auto plasma that never overheats pretty much if you like reload after every shot, and the CHP recovery and AoE of your common shots on the heavy plasma is very strong. The only thing that sucks about this weapon, like all heavy plasma options, is the god-awful ammo economy, and because of that, I would say you gotta be a little careful with this one, or like build into like more particular perk trees on the heavy class, like additional supplies. But even with that being said, it's very strong up here in the S because it pretty much is just like an alternative to the heavy plasma, so they're pretty equivalent to each other. Next weapon here is the Heroic Heavy Bolt Rifle Death Watch. This one, I kind of have to put this up in the S. Like, this is pretty comparable. It's just a grenade launcher heavy bolt rifle, okay? And on the Tech Marine, that is the best gun in the entire game for him, in my opinion. Like, it's either that or, like, one of these two. Let's put it this way. Tech Marine, best option for him is either grenade launcher bolt rifle or grenade launcher death watch. Pick your poison. They're both top tier options. And it turns out, all it takes to get a heavy bolt rifle from the B tier into the S tier is attaching a giant fucking grenade launcher to it. So I would say it firmly goes up here. S tier for sure. Deathwatch heavy bolt rifle is a top tier option in Space Marine 2. It's not very strong on the heavy class, mainly because it doesn't benefit from heavy stance perks. But that being said, if you want to take this gun to like level up the heavy class, tactical, and tech marine simultaneously, you can definitely do that. And that's pretty much all there is for this tier list, guys. I think this is a pretty fair ranking. You know, none of these guns are like particularly bad, like Bolt Sniper Rifle, Bolt Rifle, Instigator Carbine, Auto Bolt Rifle even. You can use these. They struggle more than some of the other ones do. And you guys can let me know what you guys think should be in like the S tier, A tier, or B tier, and which weapon is your favorite. But if you like content like this, subscribe for more. If you watch me live to ask me questions about the game or just come hang out, you can find me here on YouTube or on Twitch with a link in the video description. I'll also have a link to my community Discord. And as always, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Bye.